the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Listen, man, good morning. It's Ebro, Laura Rosenberg. Laura and Rosenberg on assignment right now. I had to get with my man Shanduke McPhatter representing Brooklyn. Give him this time because he's running for Brooklyn Borough president. Everybody's out voting right now. Early voting's been happening. Hopefully you've been active. Do not get apathetic and not get out here and activate. With Eric Adams running for mayor, it looks like he's going to make it happen. There's an opening for the Brooklyn Borough president, Shanduke McPhatter, who's been on the ground, been on the front lines in the community doing work with GMACC. Shanduke, what's going on, sir?
I'm blessed, and happy to be here. Appreciate you, Ebro. You know, it's a good opportunity to talk to the people and show them the options that they have out here in our community.
With where you come from and the life that you've lived, talk about, you know, getting involved in politics and what you've seen up close and personal, and why this is an important time, not only for you, but for the residents of Brooklyn to stay involved.
Well, I'm a formerly incarcerated black man. I was incarcerated at the age of 16 and went in and out the system from the age of 16 to 30. And politics led that. You know, politics led the arrests that happened in our community, the mass arrests, the mass incarceration that has happened in our community for many years. And I fell a victim to that at the age of 16. But coming out in 2008 and shifting my mindset and working to create GMACC, which is Gangstas Making Astronomical Community Changes, I've been able to be part of politics in a different way, of being a community leader, organization leader. And in doing so, I saw so much of a fight for community-based organizations, black and brown organizations, to receive the funding, to receive the support, to have elected officials that really understand and really are fighting for them. So it just pushed me they pushed me against the wall to see that I needed to do something more for my community. So I decided to run for borough president.
Community organizations in a community like yours, like GMACC, have been heralded and celebrated recently for quelling a lot of the street violence. You guys are there before the violence happens, unlike many city agencies that arrive after incidents take place. You guys are the ones that are making sure things don't happen, resolving things with young people in the community. To that note, if you become Brooklyn Borough president, how do you keep that momentum? How do you keep this communication going?
Well, one, I'm definitely hoping to work with the electeds throughout the city who really don't understand our community, don't understand these needs to run for office. We do have, like you spoke about earlier, Eric Adams, who is familiar with this work. If you watched the last debate, him and his opponent spoke about the plans, and one of the plans was using former incarcerated individuals, gang members, former gang members, to be able to be part of the violence. And ironically enough, they threw me right in the middle of that article in the Daily News, and I was no part of that debate. But the reason I know they did that is because of who I am and what I'm doing in my community, and they're there to dispute the facts that change is possible. So I intend to continue to do the same thing, is use an example of myself, the people, the 82% of people I've hired who are formerly incarcerated, the crisis management system partners, community organizations who've been doing this work, to get those at the table to really talk about the issues, to bring those who come from the streets and give them a different opportunity, to show them that they don't got to run to the gun, they ain't got to run to the gangs. You can run to a different avenue, and that's changing their communities.
One of your top 3 issues, when I read about you on the internet, your top issue is enhanced public safety. And often when people see that, they think that that means more police. But I think the work you've done, you know, Cure Violence and other programs, GMACC, is the public safety through a different lens. Can you talk about enhanced public safety and why that's one of your top issues?
So enhanced public safety, it's not just community-based, it's also law enforcement-based. I've been somebody that they think hate police. They think I'm just always attacking law enforcement. But if you see me online, I've been viral many times for going back and forth with NYPD. But it's always been an oppressive situation where we, black and brown communities, have to protect ourselves, and the trauma of them coming to our community and dealing with us, even in issues when we know no laws have been violated. So one of my main issues is focused on helping them really understand our community, holding them accountable to how they respect and treat our community, and making sure we get the right type of support and not over-policed. and whoever continues to run the city, don't put pressure on our city, don't put pressure on our borough, and that's my plan, enhance safety. Sitting down with them and understanding who's coming to our community, making sure they're trained to deal with our community, as well as focusing on those who are in the streets, who are part of the issue, who have the solutions to the problem. They're not getting enough support. They're not getting funding. So we want to bring all parties that believe in violence prevention, intervention to the table. We don't want to just be the answer after the shooting, after the murder, after the arrest. We want to talk about enhanced public safety, where we changing the mindsets of how people look at someone else. I don't care if you black, brown. I don't care if you a Muslim or a Jew. We have to have people respect the value of somebody's life, no matter what they represent, no matter where they come from, when they're walking through these streets. So I want to change the mindset. I believe in mindset shift, and I want to shift the mindset of the people in Brooklyn so that we don't have biased crimes happening. So enhanced public safety encompasses so many different issues.
With programs that you've been on the forefront, being embraced not only by the mayor of this city, but on a national level by the president of the United States, programs like yours, has the energy around the way organizations like GMACC being dealt with the city, has it changed? Does it feel a lot more like your ideas are included, and not only being included, but also valued?
Yeah, well, when we first started, I founded GMACC in 2008, and I started in the confines once I received funding in the 67 precinct of East Flatbush. That's where we had now public advocate Jemani Williams, then council member, who helped fund us to do this work in East Flatbush, where we were able to show our example of our work. And when we first started, we got a lot of opposition from NYPD. We got a lot of opposition from so many community members who didn't understand our work. We had to go to roll calls. We had to meet with commanding officers. We had to explain to them who we were and what we did in our community. And eventually, we were able to build working relationships. And people need to understand that, because they'll tell you we have information in our community, and information that our organizations who deal with violence prevention receive, the allegations, the accusations, or whatever they are. We don't turn them over to law enforcement. We work to derail violence, to de-escalate issues, to bring down conflicts. So when we meet with NYPD, we're not there to exchange information. We're there to understand and work together as community partners of a sort to make sure that we're helping our communities. So we've done things including where we had Juve. Juve's been one of the most violent things in New York City, Labor Day parade. And we've been able to sit down and hear from them their issues around Juve and say, okay, these are the areas that are hot to us, and there are events happening on these days, and we don't want to run down in those communities and cause more trauma and havoc during a time of celebration. So could you and your organizations go to these neighborhoods and just build with them? And we would do that. We would go and just inform them of the tension on themselves, inform them of the value of the event or the parade or whatever else we have in our community, and just be mindful that they have community partners out here that be walking around to support them if there's any conflict that they have. So we've been able to work and move things forward with NYPD, who understands our work in the city, who understands what we do. And when we're in the field responding to shootings and such, where I've been arrested in the past for being at a shooting, and we go to shootings because while the police is gaining their information, we're talking to the community who are comfortable with us to tell us how we can de-escalate it by any type of inroads or situations that they don't want to share with law enforcement with fear of being incarcerated or being labeled as snitch. So we take that information when we see a shooting, when we see any familiar faces, and we work to de-escalate any type of retaliation. So we are seeing a shift in New York City around how law enforcement, NYPD in general, really understands our work.
When you become, a notable community person like yourself, and you make this pivot to becoming an elected official and working in politics, I'm sure there's some pushback, not only from the community that you come from, but just in general of people who don't trust politicians. And I'm sure you dealt with it. Just like you said, you have a working relationship with the NYPD. Talk about, those conversations and helping people understand why this elevation of your profile and your work is necessary.
So I'm still not used to somebody trying to call me a politician. I take that as an offense at this time in life. Like, don't call me that. Like, what do you mean? And you know why I'm saying that, Ebro, is because
That's right.
we hear that word, bro, and we automatically see negative, right? And
That's right.
we have reason to feel like that. We have reason to be
That's
like
right.
that because the politicians that we see are treating our community unjust, right? They're there for themselves. So it's important to pay attention to that. I consider myself as running to be an elected official. I'm running for a job position. This is a job. These elected positions are jobs. And I'm saying I'm the
Hmm.
best man for the job, and here's why. I'm going to any job I do, I roll out. But what I've seen since I've come in, right? Mind you, I started an organization in 2008. I was released from incarceration in 2008, founded GMACC in 2012, and I was able to get fully funded by the city by 2015 with an organization called Gangstas making astronomical community changes. Community, law enforcement, elected officials, a lot of people were upset about that. They're still upset about that. They're still attacking me because how dare he come out with a name like this, and how dare he stop men from shooting and killing each other, right? So I've dealt with that just running a nonprofit organization. But when I stepped into the realm of saying it is time for something different in our communities, me somebody who understands, who's not there to help the realtors and developers and the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, because we can talk about that. Here's somebody who's making change. So when I go out there and when I was petitioning, people was like, I don't want to deal with it. I said, I'm petitioning as an independent. That was different for people. Even Democrats and
Hmm.
Republicans, that was different for them to see that I'm an independent candidate in a fight. And I'm talking about electeds. There are electeds I've seen endorse my opponent, Antonio Ray No Show, because he's never nowhere in our community. I call him Ray No Show, right? Who's never nowhere in our community because of politics, right? I've seen people who are elected officials, or excuse me, politicians who were on the front line with me in protest, who were on the front line with me for gun violence prevention. Once they saw that I stepped into this arena, act like they didn't know me, was no friends of mine, and I've been attacked just because I stepped in something that they felt I should never have done. And what I want to do is take the fear out of our community and get people involved in voting, get people formerly incarcerated people don't even know they could vote. Our people are tired of seeing the same thing. So I felt that putting my life out there to do something different was this next step that our community needed.
Yo, man, it's been a pleasure to talk to you today and see you again. Much success on this run. I know it's an uphill battle when you ain't tied to one of the cliques, you know.
Major parties.
Republicans versus
Yes. I
Democrats
mean,
when you're doing it and you're doing it for the borough.
is that a gang or is not? This is how it be. It is sometimes. If you don't go with what we go, then you are an enemy to us. And what I want to just say is this to the people who don't understand: the primaries were promoted in New York City more than anything. Look at how the primaries promoted versus the general election. What is the main election? We're in a Democratic
Mm.
city that has 1.1 registered Democrats. I've been a Democrat ever since I had the right to vote as a formerly incarcerated man because we just got our rights back to vote. But we as the people have to stop letting them control us through mass media and such, and tell us that the only thing that we should do is vote for somebody because they're Democrat and or Republican. We have to vote for candidates who we understand, who we research, who we value, who didn't go to school for politics, who's not working their way up the political ladder, using political friends and favors to push them and to put them in front of our people, and our people go to the ballot and just go right down the line for
Check a
Democrat because they
box.
told you that's who's going to help us. We have to stop that. So, they don't just check a
And it's
box. They
important
say
what you're saying
Democrat
too.
and check every. They don't even know the name.
It's important
Go
what
ahead,
you're
bro.
saying too, because on a local level, this is even more important. You know, on a federal level, things get a little bit gang, gang, gang. But down in your community, in your school board, in your sheriffs, in your district attorneys, in your borough president, public advocate, you know what I'm saying, in the city council, these are local. This is your neighborhood. This should not be tied to a political
Yep.
party. This should be tied to what's important for your community.
No. Correct, Ebro.
Straight
And
up.
that's what I'm hoping to get people to understand. Look directly in your community. Be part. We have to get out and vote. Tomorrow is voting. It's a major, not just my election as the borough president. We're talking about a major election for our mayor, controller, several city council members, right? So we about to get a new speaker. We need to pay attention because these are the people that are making decisions in our community. And I'm gonna leave you with this for this wrap up, Ebro. A lot of people ask me, they say, so why didn't you just go for a city councilman or something like that? I said, first of all, I've traveled through, I go through New York City to do my work. I don't just stick to an area. I've been with my sister and brothers of Until Freedom, Tamika Mallory, my son, Lyndon, them in different states, including Kentucky, fighting for Breonna Taylor. I go where it's needed for my community. So I'm not going to be stuck to a corner and not be able to help Brooklyn as a whole. It's the same thing they did to me as a nonprofit organization. And I want to hold elected officials accountable to our borough, right? I want to be able to hold the mayor accountable. The borough president advocates for the issues of the community to the mayor as well. The borough president appoints people to community boards. We are not, and I'm talking about young people, we're talking about black people, we're talking about brown people of all ages are not part of the 18 community boards that are in Brooklyn. These are the people who don't live there, who are older whites, who's making money on real estate, and they're voting to put more businesses into our community, and we need to get people on those boards who care about diversity and unity if we're going to see real change in Brooklyn.
The 18 community boards. I got to learn about this. I don't know what this
18
is.
Ebro, every community in New York City, that's why we have 5 boroughs, 5 borough presidents. Every community has community boards. Brooklyn, which is one of the bigger boroughs, have 18 community boards. The community boards, the borough president appoints people to the community boards. As a community leader, I applied for the community board and was rejected. That's another thing that motivated me to run for the seat, among several reasons. But 18 community boards, and the borough president appoints people to community boards. The city council members appoint people to community boards. And the community boards have a borough-wide meeting where they're discussing these issues with all of these elected officials. They have public hearings and private hearings about what's coming to our community. I have a goal to say no more private hearings. I don't care what the hearing is. I will send you an email. I will let you know that this hearing is happening as a borough president so you can be part of the conversation of what is coming in your community. I want to get a young person who is 17, 18 to be on those boards, right? This is capital funding. We're talking about ULERP, the people who are making decisions in our community. The borough president office has a say in what's happening in our community. It's not about me. It's about giving the people a voice to hear their issues, because I'm not an expert in these things. I'm an expert in my fields. I focus on housing, gun violence prevention, school, and incarceration. But when I hear somebody who's talking about homelessness, I've been there. What do we need to know? Who's the experts? We're talking about Board of Education. There's people who've been advocating for that. Who are the experts? Let's sit down. They haven't been hearing y'all. Let me listen to y'all and let me support what y'all think are the best things necessary to push our fight forward in our borough. It's time to give our people a voice. And what I always tell the people, when we go out, and you notice, we speak, and we so often see politicians who bring the community out. And when the community is out in a whole, all the politicians are running and talking about everything they're going to do for us. We already elected you. We don't want to hear what you're going to do for us. I started telling people, get the politicians behind the people. Let the people speak first. Once the people speak, then the elected officials speak. Elected officials or politicians, when you hear the people speak, that is the only way you're going to know the real issues. You can't speak at a press conference or event and then leave as soon as you speak. We got to change that. We got to let them stand around, listen to our community, hear our community speak, and we move forward.
Shanduke McPhatter, look for his name on the ballot if you're voting over there in Brooklyn Borough president candidate.
Yes.
Shanduke McPhatter. Shanduke, man, thank you for your time today.
Independent. Let them know independent. Let them know independent candidate. Yo, Ebro.
Yes, sir.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm going to leave you with my slogan, all right? Can I leave you with my slogan?
Of course.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Lost them. All right. If you want to see your vote matter, vote McPhatter.
Yo,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Later, bro.
Later. I appreciate you, bro. See you later, bro. Peace and blessings.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to everybody
Peace.
there.